through everything we need to get through. So the purpose of tonight's session is to go through the 20 questions that I sent to all of you. And I want this to be as interactive as possible. I'm going to actually ask each of you, there are 20 questions. There were supposed to be 21 of us on this call, so we all would have had a opportunity to answer if we were all here, but there's a few more joining. Welcome. We're going to go through the 20 questions, and I'm going to ask each, I'm going to nominate whoever to answer a question, and then we are going to sort of discuss if there's anything additional to that particular question that maybe you guys are unsure of. There's a couple of things that might still change. One of which is the 2 new balls per innings. Godwin says that's probably not going to be the case. He's actually having a meeting with the tournament director, I forget his name now. They're having that meeting tomorrow. They're going to iron out a few queries that we have, and also any changes that they might have come across having reviewed the playing conditions. So let's get straight into it. And I'm going to go sort of with who is top of the list. Question 1, Reynaldo. How many Black African players must bat in the top 6 of a team? Have you, I'm assuming that you have all been through the playing conditions. If not, then you can say so. Then I can ask the question to someone else. Reynaldo, can you unmute your microphone and give us your answer, please?
A minimum of 2 black players in the top 6 of each team.
That's correct, yes, a minimum of 2. Now, the question we've had in the past as tournament umpires is, how do we police that? Do we need to write it down on our notebook if, you know, there are not 2 Black Africans batting in the top 6? The answer is no. It's not for umpires to actually police this particular playing condition. The scorers have the team sheets, and also they obviously know who is batting when, and they will obviously put in the names of the batters as they come in to bat. So if there is a query from the opposing side, then you guys just need to go to the scorers, check if a batter is Black African or not, because there are some cases where you've got a mixed race batter. For example, Michael Copeland, who plays for the Rocks. I think he's got a white father and a black mother, or the other way around, I'm not sure. You wouldn't necessarily know that he's Black African unless you know, you see it documented on the team sheet. So so don't make any calls or ask any questions yourselves on the field. Just go ahead, and if there are any queries, then you need to investigate along with the scorers. I'm not sure if any, I don't think you would have to put in a report. Maybe the opposing side would put in a report if they feel that 2 Black Africans haven't batted in the top 6 for their opposing side. Okay, just seen a message come through. Okay, Stacey's driving. No problem, Stacey. Next question. How many new balls shall be used in a 50-over innings? Armin Behardin, you next on my list here in the blocks.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Tom. As per playing conditions, currently is 2 per innings. But as you said, that might change. So I answered according to the playing conditions. So it's 2 per innings, two
Uh,
new balls per innings. Yeah.
yeah. Two
Yeah.
new balls per innings. I think what's happened with these playing conditions is that they have been copied and pasted from Cricket South Africa's one
South
day
Africa.
competition, and
Yeah.
where we do use two new white balls. This one doesn't specify what color the balls are, but
So
historically, Cokewick has
it will be
been
red. Yeah.
a red ball, one red ball for 50 overs. I suspect that
Correct.
will still be the case. So yeah, Godwin will clear that up with the tournament director tomorrow.
Actually,
But
when I stood the Coke warm up last week and Sunday, I spoke to Victor, the manager of Province. He said no, they'll definitely wearing whites, so it will definitely be Red Bull cricket. Yeah,
yeah, perfect. And also just yeah, with that, thanks for that piece of information. I mean, with that, it means you need white standing shirts. I don't know if they will be provided. Godwin would have been a good person to let us know or not this evening. But what he will do is, after his meeting tomorrow with the tournament director, he will uh, email you guys. He said he wanted to set up another Teams meeting. I'm not sure it's necessary. If he can just email you all of these points that we are unsure of, just confirm a red ball and then confirm white shirts. Are you going to be provided with standing shirts or do you need to bring your own? I suspect with all the budget cuts, you need to take your own standing shirts. So please make sure you've got four clean shirts unless you're willing to wash shirts. Western Province guys, if you need more shirts, you can get from Chris Russ. Okay, next question, and let me give a heads up to Jason first. You are next on my list. Um, what is the width of the pitch? And the reason I asked this question is for the next question. Fill in the missing word. Either umpire shall call and signal something when the striker attempts to play the ball, um, and no part of his person, whether grounded or raised, remains within the pitch. So you can answer those two for me, please, Jason.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me?
You're a bit soft, but I'm going to take my volume up so I can hear you better.
Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's volume. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, question 3, the width, 3,05 meters.
Perfect.
And question 4, either umpire shall call and signal dead ball when the striker attempts to play the ball. No part of his person, whether grounded or raised, remains within the pitch.
Cool. So, what's important there is some umpires think that if the batter is outside of the return crease, or maybe half of his foot is inside the return crease and the other half is outside the return crease, then they should call and signal dead ball. But remember, the pitch is wider than the return crease lines. So the width of the bowling crease, which is from one return crease to the other return crease, is 2.64 meters. The width of the pitch is 3.05 meters. So that's 41 centimeters wider than the width of the bowling crease. So you've got 20.5 centimeters outside of the return creases that the batter has got to work with. Um, and yes, you're not always going to see the cut of the pitch to make it easy for you as to where the pitch ends. But yeah, just try and imagine 20 centimeters outside of either return crease or both return creases. That is the end of your pitch. Yeah, we saw on our training WhatsApp group the one batter standing far outside the next far outside the pitch on the next strip, if there were a strip. Yeah, interesting to see if anything like that comes up at your tournament, but you do know how to handle it. Right. Question 5. And I think we will skip Stacy while she's driving. We'll move on to Vimpy. What are the playing times for an uninterrupted match at Khaya Majola Week this year?
Hi, evening all. So as per the playing conditions, the morning session is 9:45 until 1300 or 1 o'clock. So that's 3 hours 15 per innings. Then we've got lunch for 45 minutes until 13:45, and then the second session will commence 13:45 until 5 o'clock, which is another 3 hours and 15 minutes. Just on that, Tom, I know Godwin sent through, I think it was on Sunday evening or earlier. There was some notes that he sent on our WhatsApp group to say that each game during the week will start at 10 a.m. So not as per the playing conditions.
Okay.
So obviously we'll just then add on 15 minutes to each cessation and starting time of the following sessions.
Okay.
Except for the last day, where we will start at 9 a.m. To accommodate for a longer lunch break of 60 minutes.
Okay. Cool. So those times will actually not 9:45 won't actually be used at all during the week.
No, actually not. So yeah,
Okay.
so the first 3 days would be 10 a.m. starts.
Yeah.
And the last day, the fourth day, would be a 9 o'clock start.
Okay. Cool. And tell me, Wimpy, is everybody on your WhatsApp group? Are there 18 umpires and Godwin on that group so that everybody's aware of these changes?
I think so, Tom. Let me just count here. Yeah, 19 participants. Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. So then everybody is aware of that change. Cool. Okay, so then this makes the next question a little bit tricky. But what is the latest time a match can start to constitute a game? Now, we all know that we need 20 overs per side to constitute a game. Ivan Kotzer, are you au fait with the calculations as to how to get 20 overs in per side? You want to give it a go?
Hi, Tom. My calculations came to 1440 is the latest we can start for 2020.
Okay, so 1440 is if you what time would we finish? 17:30.
Yes.
Ivan?
Yes.
Okay, and how long is your interval that you are using?
It's 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Cool. So Ivan, that sounds about right. Obviously that would have been for a 9:45 start and a 1700 finish plus the 30 minutes extra time that we've got.
Yes.
That now all changes with your 10 a.m. start and your 9 a.m. start on the last day. What the most important thing I wanted you guys to get out of this particular question is that the reduction of the interval is usually only from 45 minutes down to 30 minutes. However, on the discretion of the tournament director or the tournament umpire's manager, I'm not sure which one it will be, because in the playing conditions, it actually says the match referee. And again, that's a copy and paste from the CSA One Day Cup competition. So just find out from Godwin before the tournament who's going to make that call, because I think it will be different for each day or each game, depending on how long it rains for. So yeah, a few of the guys did calculations using a 30-minute interval and using a 20-minute interval. It's a good idea to keep practicing using the calculation sheets so that you are able in a real life scenario to, while it's raining, say, okay, cool, if the rain stops at 1 p.m., how much time and lunch are we going to have? And you do the calculations so that you are ready for when the rain stops. Or if the rain stops and we can start playing at 1:30, what's that going to look like? If the rain stops and we're going to start at 2 p.m., what's that going to look like? So guys, you might think that you only need to do one set of calculations for a match. It's not the case. It's better if you do multiple calculations while it's raining as to the different options you could use when it stops raining, so that when it does stop raining and you go do your inspection and you say, okay, I think we'll be ready to play at 3 p.m., then you already have all these overs and power plays, and bowlers can bowl X amount of overs before you go on, and the captains will be very impressed if you do that. Another thing is, if you are playing less than 25 overs, then there won't be a drinks break. And there, I think, Ivan, you've used maybe 4 minutes and over. You just need to use 3.75 minutes and over. So your 20 overs will take you 3.75 times.
Sorry, Tom.
Yes.
It's 3.9 minutes over. Eh?
That 3.9 minutes and over is including drinks, Armin.
It's including drinks. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I say, if you are going to play less than 20, so if you do your calculations and you come to less than 25 overs, then you can actually then you're not going to have drinks, okay? And then and your calculations are based on the 3.9 in the calculation sheets. But then once you realize that you're going to play maybe 22 overs, but for the purposes of this example, I'm going to use 20 overs. Then redo your calcs using 3.75 minutes per over, and you'll probably end up getting 1 over more per side than when you've used 3.9. So that's a little trick we use to get more cricket in, is if you are playing less than 25 overs per side, you will then not have drinks. So then your overrate that you need to use to calculate how many overs you can get in changes from 3.9 down to 3.75. So 3.75 times 20 is 75 minutes per innings. Times 2 is 150 minutes plus the 20-minute interval. If it's going to be a 20-minute interval, is 170 minutes. So that is 10 minutes short of 3 hours. So 1730 minus 2 hours and 15 minutes is 1440, which is what Ivan got. So well done, Ivan. I'm not sure if you used the same method as I did, but you got to the correct answer in my book. Okay.
Tom, sorry, can I just come in there?
Yes.
I've read something that at the right at the bottom, I think of I think it's 11 low 11 intervals. It says that if the the interval can be reduced to a minimum of 10 minutes if both captains agree to that, and then probably the manager as well, the umpire manager.
Yeah. Is that in the playing condition, Vimpy?
Correct, Tom. Yeah.
Okay. I would guard against that. Firstly, you don't want to involve captains in such decisions, and then secondly, there is a risk in doing calculations down to 10 minutes. Why? Because what happens now if your first innings overruns? You cannot then further reduce the interval to be able to start your second innings at the rescheduled start time, which included only a 10-minute interval. So Carl Hurt, many years ago, my first USA week in 2013, I think I also read something like that about reducing an interval down to 10 minutes. In practice, you can go down to 10-minute interval, but when doing calculations, your calculations must always be based on a minimum of 20 minutes, so that if the first innings overruns, you can still reduce that interval further so that your second innings starts at the rescheduled time that you calculated in your 20-minute interval. I hope that makes sense, Vimpy.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, so that's basically just to have spare minutes in your pocket for if there are any extenuating time in the first
Correct.
innings. Okay, perfect.
100%. Yeah. Cool. Next question. How many drinks breaks per innings in an uninterrupted match? And this one caught me a little bit off guard. Keegan, I see you've joined us. Welcome. Please unmute your microphone. We're going through question by question, and I'm just going through my list of people that I see on the chat. Are you with us, Keegan? Keegan, your microphone is muted, so I suspect you are maybe in the toilet or something. Next on the list, Mawande, welcome. Please unmute your microphone. How many drinks breaks per innings are we going to have at Khaya Majola week this year?
Hi there. We're going to have one after.
Okay, your signal's not great there, Mawande. I heard one drinks break, which is what the playing conditions currently say. I know it's been discussed. I mean, you can come in here with Godwin that you are probably going to change that to 2. Is that going to change on specific days when it's hot, or is that going to be a change to the playing condition before the tournament starts?
Tom, last year at sorry, Mawanda. Last year at Coke Week, when Gary came into our first meeting, they already decided 2 drinks breaks instead of 1. So they will make that decision before the first day's play. So that decision will stay right through the tournament. It will be with Godwin, and the tournament director will make that decision on before they meet with us, and then before day 1. So that will definitely change the 2 drinks breaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that, Armin. That's another one to add to the list for Godwin to give you guys feedback on. The playing conditions currently say 1, but it will most likely change to 2. Mawande, is there something else you wanted to add on that?
No, I mean, have said it all. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Who am I going to ask the next question? Stacy, if you are available and done driving, let us know. What is the minimum overrate required to be maintained by a fielding side? We have already touched on it earlier this evening. I think Stacey is probably still driving. And Keegan, are you back and available yet? Or are you also driving? Okay, no response. We already know 3.75, so I'm going to move on to the next question. That's 16 overs per hour. Just in terms of overrate updates to the captains, it is 15 minutes for every 4 overs. So I would advise that you guys on your bowling cards circle overs number 4, 8, 12, 16, all the multiples of 4 up until 48, so that you update the captain every 4 overs. It's quite easy to calculate. It should be 15 minutes for every 4 overs. So I know in club cricket in Western Province, we update them every 5 overs because it's 4 minutes an over. So every 5 overs is 20 minutes. Here it is easier with the overrate being 16 to the hour. It's easier to update every 4 overs, which is 15 minutes. Okay. If the innings of the team batting first is completed more than 30 minutes prior to the scheduled lunch break, what happens next? Aslam Regal, welcome. I hope your daughter's doing better. Are you able to answer that question for us, please?
Hi there, Tom. Thanks a lot, Yana. she is doing a bit better. Sorry, my wife's phone is in the room. Let me just cancel that call. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so if the innings of the team batting first is completed half an hour before the time, then sorry, Tom, I'm just cancelling the call on my wife's phone. I thought she took it out of the room. Sorry. If the innings of the team batting first is completed more than 30 minutes, okay, prior to the scheduled interval, then they'll have a break, okay, changeover break, and then continue until lunch.
Yeah, how long is that changeover, Aslam?
Oh, sorry, 10
minutes.
10 minutes, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Aslam, I can hear that you are, very distracted. There's obviously a lot going on there at home. If you need to go, please go. Family and health is more important than playing conditions. This session is being recorded, and we will send out the link tonight to all of you to be able to view it. Okay.
Tom, it's fine. I need something to break away so that I can just get away from it all. And I think cricket is a good thing for me right now. So if it's fine with me, I'll stay on. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Next question. I see we've got Ayanda Boy on the line. Ayanda, I'm going to read this one out for you. How many minutes of extra time are we allowed per match, if any? We have mentioned it in the calculation that we went through before. Ayanda, you want to unmute your microphone and give us your answer?
Good evening, everyone.
We are allowed 30 minutes of extra time a game.
Perfect, Diana. 30 minutes of extra time allowed for ground weather and light interruptions, and any delayed starts. Just note that there is another 30 minutes of, let's call it extra time allowed for the super overs. Okay, so even if you've already used 30 minutes of extra time for interruptions during the main match, you still do have time, so you can play your super over. If we go back to the normal times where we're supposed to finish at 5 p.m., your 30 minutes extra time for ground weather and lights expires, or means that your rescheduled close of play would be 17:30. It means that you can play your super over between 17:30 and 1800. By the way, I have no idea how you are supposed to get 3 super overs in 30 minutes. I would suggest it's physically impossible. Even at 4 minutes and over, they say 5-minute interval between the 2 super overs. So you will get the first one in. You'll struggle to get the second set of super overs in. You definitely won't get a third set of super overs in. So yeah, that playing condition might need looking at, but hopefully you won't need to play 3 super overs in one match. Next question I'm going to ask Vessi. DP, I suspect that's you. We are not going to go into the calculations. We're going to, we'll come back to the calculations at the end. We're going to skip to question 12, which I've already answered. 12 and 13. What happens if a match is tied? We play a super over. And question 13, we can play a minimum of 1 super over and a maximum of 3. So Vessi, please fill in the missing words. In normal circumstances, the super over shall commence within how many minutes after the conclusion of the main match? DP seems to have disappeared off the meeting.
I think he's got some. I think he's struggling to log in. Tom, his mic or something, so he won't be able to talk or answer anything.
No problem. I know there's load shedding, so some people are having connection issues. So it looks like Ivan is the only one who has not answered anything so far. Ivan de Jong, because Ivan Kotze has already answered. Ivan, please unmute your microphone and tell us how many minutes between the main match and the super over. Ivan de Jong, are you here? Ivan,
Hi, can you hear me?
yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, it's within 10 minutes after the conclusion of the match.
That's correct, Ivan. And guys, 10 minutes sounds like a lot of time, but it's not. I had a super over last year in CSA's T20 competition. I think it was Lions against Northern Cape, and I was TV umpire, and the job of the 4th umpire became quite important after the main match to make sure that the super over started on time. And even with 4 umpires trying to hustle players and get through ball picking and we didn't manage to start within 10 minutes of the finish. I think it was 12 minutes. So that was a bit disappointing. And you will only have 2 umpires. You won't have a 3rd umpire. You definitely won't have a 4th umpire. So you need to be on the ball. You need to speak to both captains as soon as the tie is confirmed, and just talk them through the procedure and make sure that they get their batters padded up on time and get the fielding side back onto the field to start the super over in time. Okay. And guys, just the reason that I'm asking all of you to answer a question each is this is what tournament umpires, managers look for. They look for input from everybody when you have your meetings after each day's session, when you have that pre-tournament meeting. You all need to be loud, clear, confident when you speak, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay. You need to obviously know your playing conditions, but you also need to be in a position to be able to question and look for clarity on some playing conditions and bylaws. So don't be shy and don't think I'm picking on you when we're going through these questions. Next question. Let's see. Stacy, are you available yet to answer a question? The question is, can a bowler change his mode of delivery for a free hit? Stacy, if you're available, please unmute your microphone. I see Stacy's not longer on the list, so she's definitely not available. So we're going to start at the top again with Armin Berdien.
Hi, Tom. Yes, he can change his mode of delivery for free hit, sir.
As long as he does what?
Advise the umpire.
Inform the umpire of the change. Correct.
Change, yeah.
Thank you. Well done. Next question is Keegan Williams. Can you hear us? Are you available? Can you unmute your microphone and tell us, can a batter be stumped off a no ball? Yes or no? Keegan? Still not available. Okay, so we will go back to Aslam. Aslam, can a batter be stumped off a no ball? Please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
Okay, the batter cannot be stumped off a no ball, Tom.
Sorry, off a free hit.
Sorry, off a free hit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The reason I always ask this question, guys, in refresher tests and on this test is that a umpire has given out a batter stumped off a free hit before in our club leagues. I don't ever want to see it happen again, and definitely not at a elite tournament like Khaya Majola week. Just remember that if the batter attempts a run on the free hit after double stepping, then they can be run out. But if they double step, miss the ball, and then try and make it back into their ground, they cannot be stumped, or they should not be given out stumped, even if they are short of their ground. Okay, so you just need to make sure that the batter has not attempted a run after completing the double step out of his crease. Okay, next question. We're gonna go to Ayanda Boy again. Fill in the missing word. If the striker is out of his ground at any time from the moment the ball comes into play until the instant when the bowler would normally have been expected to do what with the ball, the non-striker is liable to be run out by the bowler attempting to run him out. Ace, can you unmute your microphone?
Okay, up until the point where the bowler is expected to release the ball.
That's correct. Release or deliver the ball. Either answer is perfectly fine. Guys, so this is to do with the Mancat, and I just want to go into a process that we are all consistent with. I did mention this at the coaches, managers, and captains meeting we had in Western Province. I can almost bet my house on the fact that there will be a Mancat attempt at this tournament. Why? Because we're seeing it happen more and more on television, and kids always do what they see on television. And we all know that Majola week is a very competitive week. In 2011, I had a Mancat in my Coke week match. I think it was, of course, Northerns against Border, and it was the Northerns player who tried to Mancat. The first time that he tried to Mancat, he was past the delivery point, okay, or past the release point. So I gave it not out, and then he used that as a warning to the batter, and then 2 overs later, in his next over, he did it again, and this time he did it properly, and I had to give the batter out. Not a great feeling, but it was part of the laws back then, and it is definitely part of the laws now. So it's been moved from unfair play to run out. So it is a normal mode of dismissal, if you want to call it that. What you do need to do as an umpire is you need to make sure that the bowler was not past the release point or the expected release point before breaking the non-striker's wicket. So the best person to confirm where in the bowling action the bowler was is the striker's end umpire. Okay, so buy yourself some time. When there is a Mancat attempt, call and signal dead ball, grab the ball from the bowler, walk towards your partner. This I've explained to the Western Province coaches, captains, and managers that this is when the captain can also decide to withdraw his appeal if they feel that they don't want to. Maybe the bowler is a bit of a crazy person in the team and nobody else wants to Mancat opposition. Look, if you walk past the captain or the captain is within speaking sort of distance of you, you can just, while you're walking, say to the captain, Captain, do you want to go ahead with this appeal before you get to your partner? If the captain is far away or is celebrating with their players and not really looking at you, then don't worry, don't make a scene and go to the captain and stop the game. The captains will come to you and tell you that they're withdrawing their appeal. You don't have to ask them. If it's easy to ask them, you can, but it's not something that you have to do. Okay, so come together with your partner, ask your partner, did the bowler reach the release point before breaking the stumps, or had he not reached the release point? If the answer is no, he had not reached the release point, and you as the bowlers and umpire are happy that the non-striker was out of his crease when the wickets were broken, then you can give the batter out, run out. You do not have to go back to your position behind the stumps to give the batter out from there. You can stay where you are, where you met with your partner, and give out from that position. Okay. Right, so update on Keegan. He can hear us, but he can't use his microphone, which is faulty. No problem, Keegan. You presented last week to the Boland guys, so you should know exactly what we are talking about here. Next question, I'm going to ask Franklin Anthony. In fact, I think this is the first time we're asking you because you were offline when I wanted to ask you last time. After the fall of a wicket or the retirement of a batter, the incoming batter must, unless time has been called, be ready to receive the ball, or for the other batter to be ready to receive the ball within how many seconds of the dismissal or retirement. If this request is not met, the incoming batter will be given out, timed out. Franklin, how long?
Hi Tom, sorry, I've been in and out. It's been connectivity hasn't been great. You're asking seconds. I thought it was 2 minutes, so would that be 120 seconds?
Franklin, I believe the playing conditions say 90 seconds, which is usually the amount of time given for T20 competitions where the batters are sitting in a dugout. So yeah, this one is going to be a little bit tricky if the players are not sitting in a dugout, because if you have a change room, say similar to Newlands, where the batter has to walk downstairs, it could easily take more than 90 seconds. And then you as an umpire are under a little bit of pressure if the fielding side appeals for timed out. So I think maybe just add this one to the questions that you're going to ask.
Sorry, Tom.
Yes.
Sorry, Tom.
Tom, it's Abdullah. If I can just come in here.
Yeah, Abdullah.
Tom, that is a typo. Similar typo was made at provincial level in our 50 over competition. I think it is a copy and paste from the 20 over. So a correction was made. It should be 2 minutes and not 90 seconds. So I think similarly here, that should be changed to 2 minutes. It was just a copy and paste from the 20 over competition.
Correct, Dula. Thanks.
Again, they can confirm it with the manager, but all I'm saying is that same typo was made at provincial level, and we received communication from Gerrie Pinaar to say that it should read 2 minutes and not 90 seconds. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Dula. Very well spotted. I saw that email come in from Gerrie this afternoon. Quite right. It was copied and pasted. Yes, Armin, go ahead.
What Dula said last year, exactly what happened at Kirkwick. It was in our playing conditions as well for 90 seconds, and Gerrie told us it was 2 minutes. So yeah, that's
perfect. So again, I don't know, and I don't think these playing conditions will be physically updated and resent to you guys. But I think make a hard copy of them and scribble these changes on your hard copy the night before when you have your pre-tournament meeting with Godwin and the tournament director, if the tournament director is with you guys, just so that when you have to argue a point with a coach or a captain or a manager, you can show them that these changes were agreed upon in our meeting before the tournament. So this is what we are going with. Okay, thanks, Dula. Thanks, Armin. Next question, we're gonna go with Ivan Kotzer again. What is the maximum overs per spell a fast bowler may bowl, Ivan?
6 hours and then 6 hours off.
Yes, correct. So maximum of 6 overs in a spell, and then they need to wait another 6 overs from their end have been bowled before they can bowl again. Just remember that a bowler can change ends and it will be counted as part of the same spell. So the bowler could bowl overs number 2, 4, and 6 on one end, and obviously he won't be allowed to bowl over number 7. Won't bowl over number 8, but can change ends and bowl over number 9, 11, and 13, and that will be considered one spell of 6 overs. Okay, so
Tom,
yes.
I just have a question regarding this. Let's say the bowler bowled, let's say 3 overs, the keeper stood back in his normal position for a fast bowler, and the next 3 overs, the keeper stood up for the bowler, for the same bowler.
So we've had this debate probably at every age group tournament that I stood in, and we came to the conclusion that if a bowler bowls seam up, then they are restricted to the fast bowling directives. Okay, so could even be a medium pacer, could even be a dibbly dobbler. As long as a bowler bowls seam up, then they are restricted to the fast bowling directives.
And Tom, what if the bowler only bowls cutters but medium pace?
Cutters, you mean basically he's twisting his wrist every delivery?
Yeah, or rolling his fingers.
I think it's highly unlikely that he'd be doing that every single delivery.
Just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, if you find that, then then you'll have to talk about that bowler in the evening. But no, Vimby, I would say if he's not a spinner, then fast bowling directives apply.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Okay, last question. Actually, while we are on fast bowlers, the one question that I didn't ask, but it came up in our coaches, managers, and captains meeting was bounces per over. Do we know what the maximum allowed is? Anyone can shout. In an over?
Just one, Tom, eh? One.
It is only one bouncer allowed per over. Okay. So it's not like club cricket playing conditions, which allow 2 bouncers per over, only 1. So please, that's something that I missed. Well picked up by Armin. Please keep that in mind, guys. And remember that signal and that the judging of short pitch deliveries or full tosses, the height is for the strikers and umpire, square leg umpire, to advise the bowlers and umpire. If the square leg umpire or the strikers and umpire doesn't see or misses it, then you must have a signal to tell your bowlers and umpire, sorry partner, I've missed it. You make the call, please. Otherwise, strikers and umpire owns those 2 calls. Okay. Last question. I'm going to ask the person who answered the first question, Reynaldo Fransman, to help me with the missing words. The tournament umpire's manager should ordinarily approve a concussion replacement from the nominated substitutes, and where possible, the replacement should be a what type of player? Reynaldo? Can you unmute your microphone and attempt that one for us?
I didn't complete that one, but I think it should be a similar type of player?
Yeah, so the playing conditions say like for like, okay, which is exactly the same as similar. Each squad, I think, has got 14 players, so there will always be 3 substitutes. What's important here, guys, is firstly, you don't know the players, so you won't be able to say whether it is a like-for-like replacement. But if the guy who got concussed was listed to bat number 4, then the replacement should bat number 4. If you have a bowler, sorry, if you've got an all-rounder that was concussed, sorry, if you've got a bowler that was concussed and you have an all-rounder that replaces that bowler, then that all-rounder shouldn't bat higher than the bowler was expected to bat. I think in the team sheets they do list batting lineup order. So that all-rounder should bat number 9, 10, or 11 if the concussed bowler was listed to bat 9, 10, or 11. Very important, if a bowler gets concussed and that bowler has already bowled 10 overs in the match, then the replacement player will not be allowed to bowl any overs because the player that he's replacing has already completed their quota of 10 overs. Okay. Abdullah, just confirm that that is correct. And I know there's been slight changes in playing conditions, but I think it's that a replacement player does not inherit any warnings that a concussed player had. But in terms of bowling quota, I just want to confirm that you can't bowl overs if the player you're replacing has bowled the full 10 overs.
That is correct, Tom. And also, if that concussed player, let's say, still has 3 overs left, you only bowled 7 overs, then the replacement player is only allowed to bowl a maximum of 3 overs. Over, Tom.
Perfect. Thanks, Dula. So guys, really, that is all that I have from my side. The floor is now open for any questions that you might have on the playing conditions that haven't been covered in these questions and in the explanations that we've given for them. I mean, I think that the playing conditions are pretty standard. There's a couple of tweaks here and there, which I've tried to highlight in the questions, and you've all answered pretty well. What we can do is we can go through calculations if there are no questions. And
Tom, so
yes.
just on your example of a bowler finished his 10 being concussed, and let's say that's the first innings.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, we won't know that the player that has been substituted with is not like a gun batsman. He comes in the second innings and hitting the skin of the ball. How would you treat a situation like that?
So just check where the concussed player was meant to bat in terms of the batting lineup. Yes, they might be sneaky and use a very good batter and put as a substitute or replacement and put him in at number 9. But yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. As long as he's not batting, in the top 6, because that bowler was not going to bat in the top 6, then we've done our job to make sure that he is in the same position as the concussed player would have batted.
And Tom, if let's say the bowler is a Black African player who would have batted in the top 6, then do they need to replace that with a similar player, or is that rule then foregone?
Good question, Vimpy. That I'm not too sure. I know in provincial level, if there's a substitute, then the substitute can be any color. But it might be different for a concussion replacement. Abdullah, I don't know if you can come in here. A concussion replacement, if it's a Black African concussed, does it have to be a Black African replacement?
No, Tom. So what they look at is your starting 11. Your starting 11 needs to comply with the regulations. If you understand what I mean. If they starting 11 say needs at minimum or 2 Black Africans, that is what you need. But then once the game has started, and if you complied with your starting 11, you are then allowed to replace with any player of color. Similarly, let's say you're going to allow a substitute, but the substitute is white, and bringing on the substitute will now bring an imbalance to the team in terms of numbers. When it comes to substitute they bring on, it's irrelevant as long as at least if your starting 11 complied with what the playing conditions say, then you're okay. After that, you are allowed to bring in any player of color. Over, Tom.
Perfect. Thanks, Tula. So I think, Vimpy, the difference is in provincial competition, there's no requirement for the 2 Black African top 6 batters. But as Abdullah says, I think the same principle applies, that as long as your starting 11 was compliant with the regulations, and again, that's why they do have batting order on the team sheet. You can make changes. I mean, the changes are forced by injury. But yeah, we don't still need to, replace a Black African player with another Black African player. Cool. Thanks for that input, Dula. Very good question there, Vimpy. So we're going to have a look at the calculations, and the first question is: the start of a match is delayed due to rain to 11:30, and we are still assuming 9:45 start. Obviously, thanks to Armin, we now know that has changed. Sorry, not Armin, was it Vimpy who advised of the time changes? Yeah, Vimpy. But these calculations were done before Jason knew about those changes, and they are as per the playing conditions as they currently are. So let's just keep that in mind. But good practice for you guys is maybe take the new start time of 10 a.m. And even the new start time of 9 a.m. for day 4, and apply these same questions to the calculation sheets and see what you get. Because the most important thing about calculations is practice, practice, and more practice. There's no substitute for practicing your calculations, guys. So those of you who didn't submit answers and haven't used calculation sheets before, you've got 10 days, guys, to get yourselves up to scratch with these calculation sheets. So there you'll see that our net playing time at the start of the match is 390 minutes. How do we get to that 390 minutes? It is 3 hours and 15 minutes per innings. 3 hours is 180 minutes plus 15 minutes gives you 195 minutes per innings. Multiply that by 2, gives you 390 minutes. Okay. Has the match started? No. So there is no time in progress when the match starts. The innings has not been in progress. So how much playing time have we lost? From 9:45 to 11:30 is an hour and 45 minutes, which is 105 minutes. Do we have any extra time available? Yes, we've got 30 minutes of extra time available. Do we have the option to reduce our interval? Yes, we've got two options. We can reduce it from 45 down to 30 minutes, which is what Jason has done here. So he's using 15 minutes to reduce the interval. So effectively, we have only lost 60 minutes, not 105. How do we get to that 60 minutes? We say 105, which is the lost time in total, minus the 30 minutes extra time, minus the 15 minutes we can win back from reducing the interval. That gives you 60 minutes. So that is effectively how much playing time we've lost. So how much time remains? How much playing time remains? 390 minus 60 gives you 330 minutes remains. We divide that by the overrate, which includes drinks, which is 3.9, and leave 2 decimal places. So we go 330 divided by 3.9, and we get 84.62. And then we divide 84.62 by 2 innings, and we get 42.307, and we round up any fractions so that we play more cricket. So that is 43 overs per side, and then you work out your bowling and you work out your power plays. Your power plays are in your playing conditions. Just keep them handy when you are doing your calculations. So now let's see what that works out as in terms of times. So your first innings goes from 11:30 until 14:18 because it's 168 minutes long. That is 12 minutes short of 3 hours. And then the length of your interval is 30 minutes. Second inning starts at 14:48 and it ends at 17:36. Very important, guys. You can finish no earlier than 17:30, no later than 17:39. If your answer is outside of that window period, then you've gone wrong somewhere in your calculations. Okay, so Jason's cessation time is 17:36, falls within that 9-minute window period, so his calculations are correct. And that, remember, is for a 30-minute interval, 43 overs per side. If the tournament umpires manager or the tournament director allows the interval to be reduced to 20 minutes, then Jason has done the calculation and we ended up with, oh, sorry, this is on to the next question now. I think we ended up with 44 overs. Okay, so 11B, the first innings ends at the rescheduled time, which we know is 14:18. During the lunch break, it rains. Play is able to resume at 1600 hours. How many overs will the second innings be reduced to? Now, I actually didn't check these answers from Jason, but I do remember the 24 overs being correct. So time at start of innings should read 14:48. There we go. Innings in progress, no. So I think time at start of interruption would have been actually at lunchtime, but that doesn't really matter. Restart time is 1600. Length of interruption is from 1448 until 1600, because that's when you're supposed to be playing. And we've used up all of our extra time, so that's no. So the total playing time lost is the 72 minutes. What does that equate to in overs? 72 divided by 3.9. We've lost 18 overs, correct? And we are left with 25. Okay, so 25 times 4.9, sorry, 3.9 is 97.5 minutes, 98 minutes. And there our amended cessation time is 17:38, which is within that window period of 1730 to 1739. Okay, so guys, please, those of you who don't have enough practice on these calculation sheets, take the exact same questions that I've asked and just use a 10 o'clock start, and also use a 9 o'clock start, and also have the two different options of a 30-minute interval, or your interval being reduced to 30 minutes and your interval being reduced to 20 minutes. So you'll have a fair bit of practice. That comes to 4 different scenarios times 3 questions that you can practice on in your own time before the tournament starts, so that you are all au fait with calculations before you have any rain to deal with at Coke Week. Just remember as well that it is not only for rain that you will need or use calculation sheets. Jeff Volater always tells the story of him at Club Champs many years ago, where a sight screen fell into the ground and the match was delayed for 2 hours. And they had to reduce overs, right? So could be that the weather is perfect and there's no rain, but there is an interruption that leads you to reducing overs. So just be ready at any given point in time to be able to do calculations for reduced overs. Okay. Ladies and gents, are there any questions on the playing conditions? I see a hand. Jason, please unmute your microphone and go ahead.
Yeah, it's just on the revised scores. So I'm assuming we're going to have printouts of the revised past scores. Now, will there be printers at the fields, or how will we get the revised scores to give to the captains?
Yeah, good question, Jason. So it happened to me at Cubs Week. We always in Stellenbosch, the main fields were the Marty's fields, which I think will be the same for you guys at Majola Week. But we were playing at the Stell, a few kilometers away from the Marty's fields, and we didn't have a printer at our field. And so when we came off for rain, Zimbabwe was quite keen to go back on. The Titans were not keen to go back on because they were in a leading position, winning on DLS. They were ahead of the DLS pass score at the time. And eventually we were, in terms of the field being safe and ready, we were keen to go back onto the field. And then the Titans coaches came back to us and said, well, we're not going back onto the field without DLS printouts. And they were quite right. We would have gone on the field without knowing what the new target was. So I think what practically works best is if there isn't a printer at the venue, one of the scorers should keep the DLS on their computer screen for everybody to see at any point in time. Maybe again something to clear up at the pre-tournament meeting, just to say, do we go on with just the screen that the one scorer has with the DLS, or are they going to maybe WhatsApp the PDFs to the various teams? There needs to be a quicker method than printouts being made at Marty's and then somebody driving from Marty's to Distel or wherever else, Van der Stel or wherever else you guys are playing, to go give the teams before they can go on. So I can't give you a definitive answer, something for you to discuss with Godwin and the tournament director before the first day. Happy?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Are there any further questions, guys? This is your session. If there's anything you're unsure of, this will probably be the last you hear of me and Abdullah. So I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you guys all well. The first time that Majola Week has regional appointments for umpires. So there will be a bit of a spotlight on you guys. Some people don't think, we're going to be good enough, but I definitely back all of you to do the job and for umpires not to be spoken about, because remember, whenever umpires are spoken about, it's usually not in a good way. We just want to hear or see you guys doing a good job. I think, will be cameras. Godwin was saying 2 cameras on the main Marty's field, with commentary on SuperSport streaming schools channel, and then the B field at Marty's will have 1 camera with no commentary. So there'll definitely be a lot of eyes on you guys throughout the week, and just be ready for that pressure of parents, of broadcasters, of commentators, something that we're not all used to, but you've been chosen because we all know that you are capable of umpiring at this level. You just need to believe in yourself, work hard and work well with your teammates. Guys, remember that if both umpires do well, then a good game will be had. There's no good if one umpire does better than the other one, because then as a team you will be seen as a failure. Okay. Western Province and Boland umpires, there is no backstabbing, there is no rivalry. You work out there as a team and you make sure that together you have a good performance, so that at the end of the tournament, you can all be seen as having a great Majola week and not seen as Boland umpires doing well and Western Province umpires doing well. It's going to be Khaya Majola umpires were exceptionally good this week. Okay. I wish you all the best, and I'll be watching from afar. Give us a shout on WhatsApp if you need any help during the tournament, but Godwin is there. He should be able to assist as far as possible, but you all know that Abdullah and I are always available at any time. I can't take WhatsApp calls during office hours, but I can take texts and voice notes. So don't be shy, be confident, enjoy the tournament. It was one of my favorite tournaments over the years, and enjoy the occasion. All the best, good night, and see you guys soon. Thank you.
Okay, Tom, thanks a lot. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom and
Thank you,
Abdullah.
Tom.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Bye.
Have a good evening. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.